Right, so just a reminder how we use our GDC to find averages, and specifically the median for the questions we're looking at today, but we also look at the mean, we look at quartiles, which we're doing today, and even something called standard deviation, because it's easier to do that all in one go. Right, so when we got group data, we don't know what the values were between sort of 0 and 4. We don't know how many zeros there were, we don't know how many ones there were, and so on. So you may remember from your GCSE, you find the midpoint. So the midpoint of 0 and 4 is 2, and so on and so forth. So we find the midpoint for every one of these values. And that is what we're going to input into our GDC. We'll input the midpoint and the frequency, which is what I'm going to do next. So first of all, I'm just going to write in my values there, call that X, and then F there to remind myself it's frequency. So I've gone into my spreadsheet. I can't remember how to do that. And go to home page, and probably the easiest way to access it is that icon there, and go straight into your spreadsheet. Now I'm going to fast forward, and I'm going to input all the values for hours per week. Okay, so that's all the values for hours per week. And now I'm going to do the frequency, copy those all across. Okay, so I've inputted all the frequency values as well. So after I've done that, I just select a blank cell there. I go into menu, go into statistics, I go into stat calculations, and I go to one variable statistics. Now I'm just going to click on one, and I'm going to make sure that that is correctly identified. So the data I'm looking at is from column X, and my frequency list is F. So it's kind of better if you label the columns. Then you click on OK, and you are done. So all you have to do now is just be able to identify what is what. So even though we're not doing all of these today, so X bar, I hope we know, is the mean. So the mean for that data is 12.95. So let's look back and see if that looks sort of reasonable. Yeah, sort of 12 is in the middle there. I might have expected it to be a bit bigger, but whatever. That's the sum of X is 1036. So that would be 2 times 5 plus 6 times 9, and so on and so forth, added all together. Sum of X squared is something that we will do in more detail later on. So this is the standard deviation we use in IB, the standard deviation for the population. There'll be more on that. So N is how many items there were, or how big the population was in this case. So if we look back at the question, if you totaled up the frequencies, that would be the total frequency, should be 80, which is the value of N. So that corresponds. We go further down, it also gives you the minimum value, which was 2. And this is the lower quartile, Q1. It will give the median, 14, and it gives the upper quartile, Q3. And to find the interquartile range, you could subtract those two things, which may give you a slightly different answer to a cumulative frequency graph, but it should be similar. So 16 minus 10 will give you the interquartile range of 6. It also gives you the maximum value. So the things we're looking at today will be the median and the quartiles, but there is a lot of other useful data there, as I'm sure you will agree.